Hello YouTube and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be going over how to improve your consistency in Rainbow Six Siege. I'm going to be doing a little bit of a different style video today. I've been doing a lot of scripted content lately and I decided to mix it up this time. I'm just kind of going bullet points, things I want to cover, try to make sure I don't miss anything. I feel like the scripted content just puts me more of in a box. I don't really get to be like myself as much. You guys don't get to see like the real me. It seems almost robotic. So I'm mixing it up today. Let me know if you enjoy this style better or if you enjoy my previous videos style better where I have scripts. Yeah. With that being said, let's get into the video. First thing to worry about when it comes to consistency is consistency outside of the game will lead to consistency inside of the game. It's pretty much with anything in your life. If you set up a schedule and you stick to it, that structure helps you become better at whatever your goals are. So the bare basics are you need to be getting enough sleep, you need to be eating well, things like that. You need to play with the same conditions that like the same physical conditions that you always play with. Don't change it, right? Like whether you play shirtless, you play with your lights of your TV or your lights of your room on or off. Just things like that. Don't want to be mixing it up because your body just becomes accustomed to things and it performs better when it's performing under things that it's used to, under conditions that it's used to. So I personally play shirtless. Sometimes I play with a t-shirt on, I guess, but I never play with long sleeves. I never have been able to. I never will. I feel like it restricts my movement with the long sleeves further up my forearms, and it could not restrict them at all. I know people who use, like, all pros pretty much use arm sleeves, right, for mouse and keyboard, and they don't look restricted at all. But I just always feel restricted if I have something on my forearms, and all it takes is your mental to believe that. So anytime I'm wearing a long sleeve or a sweatshirt or something and I die, I'm going to blame it on that mentally. Even if I don't want to, my brain's just going to be like, my aim was off because I just feel constricted. And those kind of mental issues that you have are not going to help you in the long run. You're hurting yourself before you even log into the game. That's pretty much all for that. The second thing is you need to warm up. I'm sure everybody preaches this, and most people do warm up if they want to actually get serious at this, but especially the beginners who come from COD or whatever, who, you just jump into a pub game in COD and you just run around, you got aim assist. In a game like this, there is no aim assist, especially on controller. It is hard to aim in this game. So you need to warm up just like athletes in the real world. They stretch, they warm up before they compete, get your body adjusted to the game, make your aim more consistent. This also kind of ties back into the schedule thing, right? Your brain gets used to warming up. It's getting in that siege mode, getting locked in for those 10, 15 minutes before you go into ranked or whatever. And it just will help your performance, I promise. Next thing, once you actually get into the game, a big thing that people do is they switch their play styles a lot. And that leads to inconsistency. The definition of consistency is doing the exact same thing, getting relatively similar results, things like that. So in order to do that, you need to play the same locations, same handful of operators, just generally like that. For instance, upstairs garage on Clubhouse. Everybody uses this example. If you're playing CCTV on Clubhouse, you need someone in upstairs garage. If you want that to be you, then become that player. It's even easier with a 5-stack if you have players that you play with consistently. You all kind of have a role, right? One person might only play hard breach, one person might play entry, just different things like that. If you play with a stack where you can consistently play the same operators, you learn their recoil control, just learn the feel of their guns. You'll pick up random tips and tricks on their abilities as you go as well, because you're playing the same couple operators. Same thing goes for locations. You learn all the little angles that people will use to try to pick you off, all the angles you can use to your advantage. You learn the feel of the position, when you should push forward, play aggressive, when you should fall off, things like that. For the Clubhouse example specifically, if you're playing rafters, The more you play, the higher rank you get, the more you'll learn the tricks that the attackers will try to use to take you out of that position, right? Like, they'll either bring a Monty, they could bring a Capital, they could bring a Glass, things like that. They'll try to open your garage wall. Those are all things that you learn by playing the game, and you learn how to deal with those situations by playing in those situations, right? There's no better teacher than actually getting into the situation yourself. Learn where they can see you, where you're safe, all that fun stuff. So after that, once you start playing the same general locations, same kind of operators, the next thing is to worry about your mental. The second you get tilted, your consistency is gone. Whether you're getting stuck in a bomb site. Here, actually, I'll give you a hypothetical. How many of you have bunkered in a bomb site round 1 on defense, ended up in a 1v5, lost it, obviously, and decided you're not going to play in the bomb site anymore, and you're just going to roam because your teammates are trash. They can't stay up. I know I'm raising my hand. You can't see me, but I'm raising my hand. I've done that. I feel like everyone's done that. It's just kind of how it is. But that complete 180 play style, it might work the next round, right? You might win the next round. You might go crazy. You might waste time. Whatever you do, that you could work. But that's the definition of inconsistency, right? Because you're completely 180ing your play style. You're not playing a consistent play style, so you're not going to get consistent results. You might do that, and then you'll go into the next game and be like, oh man, this worked. I'm going to do the exact same thing. And then you just get slammed because you're not used to playing the roam play style, right? So if you're going to be a roamer in general, then stick to being a roamer, learn all you can about roaming, where you should roam, how to kill drones, waste time, things like that. Learn everything. Don't just switch to roaming because you played as an anchor once and got pissed off. That just will not end well for you. Just in general with playstyle, and then you keep going down that rabbit hole. Say you roam the next round and then all your teammates get killed in sight, then you have an even worse mental because you're left in a 1v5 but you're off site. And then your bad mental will just lead you to make even poorer decisions, probably shit talk your teammates. I've also been there. Everybody has. Just maintaining your mental, having a clear mind is the biggest part of Siege in general, not just consistency, but just overall performance. So if your mental breaks, it is a-okay to take a break. Everyone needs to take a break from Siege every once in a while. Everyone needs to take a break from everything every once in a while. You can't do the exact same thing all the time and expect to, not get bored of it, not get sick, not get frustrated, things like that. It is okay to take a break. Look after your mental first. And remember, it is just a video game. It is all pixels on a screen. It will not affect your life. Yeah, we're basically halfway through the video here. So I'm just going to plug real quick. If you're enjoying what you hear, like, subscribe, all that fun jazz. I come out with tip videos as often as I can. It's usually once a week, maybe a couple times a week, maybe once every 2 weeks, just very consistently like that. Well, consistently inconsistent, if that makes sense. Yeah. Skip that plug and get back into the tips. I mentioned this earlier, but playing with a consistent stack is huge in consistency because you can play the same roles, you become better at those roles. If you're solo queuing and expecting to get consistency, that's a tough road because you can get consistent with your own performance, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to consistently win games because you're loading into a game with a different team every single time, right? So your teammates are not going to be consistent. And that means that you kind of have to adapt your playstyle to your teammates. And you can't really be super consistent if you have to switch up your playstyle every time you get into a new game. It's really difficult. The biggest thing with solo queuing is that you shouldn't go into a solo queue game expecting to win regardless, because that'll mess up your mental anyways, because you're supposed to lose. If you're playing as a 5-stack and you're solo queuing and you win, that 5-stack is trash, okay? They deserve to be shit-talked because there's no way a 5-stack that communicates should lose to just random people thrown together by the game. I am an avid solo queuer. I solo queue all the time. For me, it's kind of relaxing because I don't have to really care about teammates or whatever else. I just kind of play how I like to play, and then if it works out, that's great. If not, oh well. You just gotta not take it so seriously. But if you do solo queue and you're trying to work on consistency, one tip that I can give you for that is to do just mostly default setups and attacks, because your teammates will be able to work around that, because everyone should know what a default take is unless you're really, really low rank. But everyone should know what a default take is. All right, I used the clubhouse example before. I'm going to use it again. Everyone should know that CCTV, if you're attacking it, the default take is you open that CC wall, you take garage control, you plant in CC. That is the default take. Everyone should know that for every map, every bomb site. They should know the defaults. So if you're doing a default take, your teammates should be able to recognize that and hopefully kind of play around you, help you out. If not, oh well, solo queuing again. Don't let your mental get ruined. GG, go next. Now, the next tip is to watch your own gameplay. This isn't just with consistency. This is just getting better overall. Everyone should watch their own gameplay. Pro athletes always watch game film. This helps you realize your mistakes, especially mistakes that you make consistently over and over. If you see yourself dying to something, the exact same thing multiple times, watch that video back, watch that match back. Match replay is in the game now, so you don't have to actually record your stuff. You can just go into it after the game, and Siege does it for you. That's awesome. And then you can even look at it and see where the opponents are positioned in this situation where I did this. Where could I have gone based off where they are to ended up in a better spot? And that helps even more. Honestly, everyone should be doing this. If you really want to get good at Siege or get good at anything, doesn't matter what you're doing. Sports, Siege, music, anything, just watch film on yourself and just be your own biggest critic. Right? Because if you're your own biggest critic, you will get better. That's just how it works. Next tip, stop changing your sensitivity or other settings. Right? How is your aim going to be consistent if you're constantly changing the amount you need to move your joystick or mouse to aim at people? That is the literal antithesis of consistency, right? Because you're constantly changing instead of staying the same. An example, one of the most popular and consistent pros of all time is Shaiko. A lot of people, I'm sure, have heard of him. If you haven't, then you're really not tapped into Siege Pro League or anything. As far as I know, he's only changed his sense like once or twice in his entire career. I think he's been playing Siege for all 10 years it's been out, and he's only changed his sense once or twice total. That's like that is the king of consistency, and he's really like an amazing player, top tier player. Everyone talks about him, how he could be the GOAT, although he hasn't won any like SIs. That's kind of the only thing he's really missing to be like put into that GOAT status. But that's a topic for another video. Either way, he is the most consistently dominant player like almost ever, I would say. So when you're first getting into the game, once you find a sense that you feel is reasonable, practice with it until aiming with it is second nature, right? Practice makes perfect. That kind of rolls into the next tip, that practice necessarily doesn't make perfect. Practice makes habit, and perfect practice makes perfect. I totally gypped that quote from, I don't even know who it was, probably Vince Lombardi, I think. I don't know, but basically what he's saying is practicing will form habits. If you're practicing poorly, you're gonna perform poorly. You're gonna form poor habits. So you need, when you practice, which you should to be consistent, when you practice, you need to practice with a purpose. Say you only play once a week, you're not gonna get better, right? You're not gonna get the muscle memory needed. You're not gonna develop the, I don't want to say sixth sense, but it's almost like the sixth sense that you get when you play games, right? There are certain situations where people get put in, and high-level players can just feel what they're supposed to do to win that situation, and lower players don't feel that. They have to physically think about it. That's not good, right? Because if you have to take the time to think about it, then you're one, wasting time, and you're probably gonna lose. So practicing more is the best way to succeed at Siege. And practicing with a purpose is even better, right? If you're just like, all right, I'm going to play Siege all this time and just like hope I get better. Yes, you will get better gradually by playing the game. But the best way to get better is to pick something and specifically worry about that. Let's say your crosshair placement is terrible. Play Siege for a week just thinking about your crosshair placement, right? Like go into every game or whatever, just like, all right, I am going to aim at head level this entire game and only think about that. Once you do that for long enough, it will become second nature. And then you can move on to something else and you'll just do that subconsciously without even thinking about it, right? For those of you who don't have time to sit down and play ranked for like 3 hours, you can spend 10 to 15 minutes a day aim training, and that'll help, right? That'll keep you warm, keep you accustomed to the game. That's what I used to do when I had a really, really busy work schedule. I didn't want to get bad at Siege, right? Because I was champ, and I didn't want to like only play on the weekends because then I would just gradually lose my skill. So I would, on days that I knew I couldn't play ranked, I would get home and I would just hop on, play T-Hunt or Training Ground for like 10, 15 minutes, make sure my aim was all right, and then I'd get off and go to bed or do whatever I needed to do that day. You don't necessarily have to grind for 3 hours to keep your aim good, but in order to get those good decision-making processes and stuff, there's nothing better than playing the game as much as possible. That's it. Those are all the tips I have for improving your consistency. Hopefully this video helped you. If you enjoyed, feel free to leave a like. Like I said, I'm going to be coming out with another video very soon. Leave a comment below if there's anything that you think I missed. If there's something that you personally work on to up your consistency or something like that, and I didn't cover it in this video, feel free to leave it down below. This channel is kind of just focused on getting better as a collective, right? If you have tips that can help other people, leave them, because obviously I'm not the end all be all. I'm champ, but like that doesn't even mean anything in this day and age. And anyone and their mom can hit champ pretty consistently. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have. Also, let me know what you think about the video style. If you like the scripted better, if I should go back to that. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.